How's it going out there, YouTuber? Cyberneticshark here with another new movie review for you. So let's get right into this movie review and see what I saw. The other night, I had the chance of checking out a movie I hadn't seen yet that came out last year that was considered kind of like a uh, international gothic slash type of like IFC type of flick that was considered a big success for its time and for its particular theme that was part of it. Also, some people considered this film a little crazy too at the same time, kind of ridiculous, kind of crazy in how things panned out in the film, and that it was considered like a nice psychological thriller. And that is the film Killing of a Sacred Deer. Now, this film was very interesting and very different. It had an interesting and a different, tone to it, and it was along the same lines as a lot of those indie type of films that they've come out with in the last couple years. Now, this awesome movie, or decent movie, I should say, not super awesome. It was definitely decent and worth watching, but at the same time, I thought it was very well directed, though. Now, it was directed by Mr. Yorgos Thamanos, who is, a huge director in recent years, has become kind of a big and awesome, definitely a, known director and somebody that a lot of people want to work with because of his ideas are kind of out there and kind of different. Kind of the same, similar to like Darren Aronofsky or working with somebody, in that type of genre, type of making films. Now, Yorgos did an amazing job with the film, I feel, and he did and made it very interesting and definitely different. And the tone of the film was very, just strange, kind of to me. And I thought he, made it very interesting though, and kept me entertained, kept me, wanting to watch it. And I thought the whole idea behind it was very interesting. Now, a couple other movies that Yorgos has directed are such films as the 2015 film, also starring an awesome actor that's in the film, Mr. Colin Farrell, and that is the film The Lobster. Now, The Lobster was definitely an interesting and weird film, but at the same time, I didn't really get it, so I feel that's one of the reasons why I didn't care too much for it, but I definitely thought it was boring and just very systematic and wasn't very original to me. Definitely a different idea about people turning into an animal if they don't get a mate for life. That definitely was an interesting aspect. But at the same time, I didn't think it was anything of greatness, and I didn't think it was worthy of all the praise it got. I think it was overrated, and I definitely don't think it was Yorgos' best work. I definitely think Killing of Sacred Deer was a lot better than The Lobster was. Another film that he directed and that was considered kind of another like hit type of movie is a film called Dogtooth. Now, I'd never seen this film. I don't really know much about it, but I heard that it was one of the winners at the Cannes Film Festival in 2012 or 2013 when it got released. But also at the same time, a lot of people, a lot of the indie filmmakers and stuff like that said and think that it was a really fantastic film, and it started showing Yorgos's directing abilities. And like I said before, Killing the Sacred Deer, I thought he directed it very well. He made it very interesting and allegorical. He really brought together a interesting and different light to the film. He gave a whole new meaning to psychological type of thriller with this kind of interesting but yet like supposedly like witchcraftery going on in the film. It definitely was different, and I thought he did a really good job of directing everyone. And everyone in the movie was pretty good. I thought they all worked pretty well together and were decent in the film. Weren't anything great, but definitely were decent in the film. Now, like I mentioned before, the awesome Mr. Colin Farrell is in this film. Now, Colin Farrell we all recognize from such great films as an awesome Woody Allen film from 2007, I believe, and that's the film Cassandra's Dream, which I think is a fantastic film with Ewan McGregor. One of, those types of, like, kind of drama, mystery, kind of thriller type films that Woody Allen's done in the past. And it was definitely different. It wasn't like, his usual comedy brand. It was a little bit more serious on the more serious side, and I thought it was really good and interesting. And I thought, it just was really well done. But I thought Colin Farrell was really fantastic in that film. It's probably one of my favorite roles of his, besides a couple other ones. But this he just was really fantastic in. I really enjoyed his, character of the brother of Ewan McGregor in the film, just kind of where his character goes and just how interesting of a, creation or a character that character was. It just was very interesting. Very, very different for Colin Farrell. I thought it was a little different than anything I had seen him in before, because I mean he's done like other films where he's kind of like drama action type of films, and he's done superhero films, he's done a little bit of like dark comedy too at the same time, but this one I just thought it was completely different for him, and I thought he did a fantastic job in it. I really enjoyed him in it. Another great film that he was in, and I think is a fantastic remake of a classic 1990 film, and that's the film Total Recall. Now, Total Recall, of course, like I said, is a remake from the 1991 with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sharon Stone. But I thought this one was definitely a decent remake. It wasn't super bad, it wasn't like really crappy, and I thought the visual effects were really good for its time. Also, the storyline was a little different than the original, but at the same time, I liked that new storyline. And I love that all the actors they got for the film, like Jessica Biel, and then you had Kate Beckinsale, you had Bryan Cranston in the film. Just really well done film. And I thought Colin Farrell was fantastic as the lead role in that film. And especially when he puts on his like American accent, you would never guess that he has that Irish accent like he does. And I thought he always does a great, fantastic job of playing like he's American. Really awesome, really good, just a really well done, film. But in Killing the Sacred Deer, he was very kind of like robotic in the film, and his like approach to the character. But at the same time, I could understand why he kind of went that route with the role, and how he dealt with the situation that was going on in the film. It was really a decent role, though. I thought he did a really good job and made the film interesting enough to want to keep watching, and that he kept it kind of like really serious like through the whole movie with some kind of like outburst roles and stuff like that. I thought it was really interesting, really well done, and he was really fantastic, I thought, in the film. He definitely was probably my favorite person in the film, and I thought he did a really good job. We also have in the film another awesome and excellent actress that I think has some really great talent. Sometimes I feel she's a little overrated, but she's definitely a decent talent and is fun in some films, and that's Miss Nicole Kidman. Now, Nicole Kidman, we all recognize, from a lot of films. A lot of people remember her from To Die For, Eyes Wide Shut, that recent Big Little Lies show that was on, and so forth. But a couple of films I really thought she was fantastic in were such films as the awesome made from a TV show into a movie, comedy film, and that is the film Bewitched. I really thought she was fantastic in that film with Will Ferrell and all. And I thought the whole character was super hilarious. I really enjoyed her. And I thought she did a really fantastic job with the role. I mean, she played Samantha to the T, I felt. I thought it was interesting that they made it where, they're working on a TV series together, and basically in real life they're trying to be real lovers and stuff like that. And I just thought it was really well done. I thought it was super funny, and I really enjoyed, Nicole Kidman's character in that. I thought she was really good, and that seemed like who she really seemed to be, too. I thought she was very, original and definitely down to earth in that role, and I really liked that about her when she plays those types of characters. Definitely better than her, like, usually sometimes she plays, like, snooty roles, and I really liked her in The Bewitched. And I thought she clashed very well with Will Ferrell in the film. Another great film that she was in that I think is just a fantastic film, and directed by Mr. Frank Oz, and that is the remake or newer version of this film, which has already been done, The Stepford Wives. Which, this was more of a comedy version of the film, where the original was more of like a thriller, kind of horror type of deal. But this I still thought they did a really good job with, even though it was kind of made more of a comedy and had a lot more comedy element to it. they still did a fantastic job, and I loved Nicole Kidman's character in this too. I thought her character was super hilarious, and I love how she went from this like kind of high exec that's always wearing black to this like blonde lady that's like very well dressed and very well mannered, and just her character just evolves through the film. I thought it was really cool and interesting. I just thought she was awesome, and I love some of the scenes that she's in with Bette Midler, and she's just super funny in it, and I really enjoyed her. And I think it's probably, one of her best roles I've enjoyed her in, besides Bewitched 2 as well. And this is just a fantastic film, too. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's such worth the watch. So good, so entertaining, just a really good film. Great cast, too. John Lovitz, Christopher Walken, Glenn Close, Faith Hill's in it, Bette Midler, like I said. Just a great cast, super awesome, and very well directed by Frank Oz. But in Killing of a Sacred Deer, I didn't care too much for Nicole Kidman's character. I don't like how she represented herself. I don't like how she acted towards Colin Farrell and the whole situation. And I just think she was kind of like, oh, just do it. And she was like kind of evil. I did not really care for her character, and I think she was one of the weakest links of the film. And I just think they could have gotten somebody a little bit more powerful in their performance than Nicole Kidman for this role. But other than that, I mean, she wasn't super bad, but at the same time, I just didn't care for her character, and I didn't like how that character evolved through the film, and how she just kind of stayed in that role. But at the same time, still watching it and conversing with Colin Farrell, I thought she still did a decent job and made it entertaining and enough to keep my attention and want to watch it. Because sometimes films will be like, have these all-star cast members, and it just is so boring and does not keep your attention. And sometimes that happens, and thankfully this one did, and I was really surprised that at the end of the movie I was kind of like, this is kind of interesting, this was kind of good, this wasn't too bad. It was definitely different, and, her role versus, Colin Farrell role, I feel that both of them working together, though, really helped her role out in the film, and definitely made it more watchable and entertaining. We also have in the film another actress that is kind of up and coming and has been around for the last couple of years. And it isn't too bad of an actress. I think she's decent, and I thought she was definitely decent in this film. And that is Miss Raffy Cassidy. Now, she's been in a couple other films over the years, and she's kind of been around. She's a younger actress. She's not very old, and she's, kind of getting into her acting chops. And I thought the couple films that I picked that she also was in were actually not too bad of films, and not too, were pretty decent films, and definitely her role were really decent in them. One of those films is an awesome George Clooney film and Burt Robinson film from 2015, I believe, and that is the film Tomorrowland, which I thought was a fantastic film as well. And Raffy's character in that was just really fun and interesting. It wasn't a huge role, but at the same time, it still was very memorable and fun, because she actually plays in a scene and a part towards the beginning of the film that shows George Clooney when he's younger. And I thought that was really interesting, how that movie evolved and stuff like that, and that her character, Raffy's character, just was interesting, that she was kind of like this girl that he was interested in. And I really enjoyed how they played that character out, and how she did herself, and I thought she made it entertaining and fun. I really enjoyed her character in that, and I really enjoyed the film too as well. Another film that Raffy was in was an interesting and awesome, another film that was based off of a TV series that was made into a movie, and directed by the awesome Tim Burton, and was given a whole new life versus this vampire opera that was back in the 70s. And that is the film Dark Shadows. Now, Dark Shadows is just a really fun and awesome Tim Burton trippy film. It just was really well done, really awesome, and just the whole idea behind it, and bringing back to life this awesome vampire soap opera from the 70s, and giving it a whole new life into a new generation, was just really awesome. And they did a really good job with it. Raffy's character, though, in the Dark Shadows, I thought was really fun. I thought she was a great actress in it. I thought she did a good job and played a really well done role. She really brought some funny elements to the film and just made it really entertaining and enjoyable. It was a really well done role, and I really enjoyed her in it, like I said previously. But at the same time, I thought that she really showed her acting chops in that film in Dark Shadows. She really showed that she has a talent that can be, you know, given more direction and more instruction to really build on and to become a really great actress. And she really showed that in Tomorrowland as well. So I think she's got, a long, awesome career ahead of her. And the same thing, applies to in Killing of a Sacred Deer. She actually was pretty decent in the film. I thought it was very, robotic to her performance in the role. It was kind of very blah. But at the same time, I think that was just what the tone of the film was. And so that's why she gave that kind of performance, because I feel she had better acting abilities than she did in the film. Very still great role. I thought she still did a decent job, and she was interesting in the film and gave it a whole new light and made it, also entertaining and, made it worthy of watching, and also kept you, kind of locked on and wanting to watch more. Another actor that was in the film kind of plays the main antagonist in the film, and was definitely an interesting but yet very bland type of bad guy in the film. And that's Mr. Barry Keoghan. Now, Barry Keoghan, he hasn't been in a lot of movies I've seen, but a couple of them, or one of them at least, I have seen, and the other one I haven't, but I've heard of. Now, one of the first films that I saw him in, or before Killing a Sacred Deer, was such a film as the awesome 2017 war film, Dunkirk. Now, Dunkirk was a very interesting film. Not a lot of dialogue, but a lot of great acting and a lot of great action sequences. And I thought in the scenes that Barry Keoghan was in, he did a decent job. I thought he was really good at playing that, a officer general of, the British Army very well, and that he did a really good job and kept it entertaining throughout the film. He definitely showed, some acting potential in that film versus in Killing of a Sacred Deer. And definitely I can see why they picked him for Killing of a Sacred Deer versus picking somebody else, because he really does have a decent acting bravado and acting method that he used in Dunkirk, which I thought was really well done. And just, a really great movie that he added his awesome acting presence to. Now, another film that he was in that I actually haven't seen, but I've heard of the film, and I do love a few of the actors that are in the film. And that is the film Trespass Against Us All, which was a British kind of film. British, kind of like a thriller / kind of psychological thriller, kind of drama. I don't know much about the film, but I do know that the trailer looks very interesting, and that the film itself has a great cast. Like Brendan Gleeson is in the film, who I think is just an awesome actor that played Mad-Eye Moody in the Harry Potter series. And I just thought it looked like an interesting movie, but I heard, and I've read, some of the quotes from the film and a lot of people's comments about the film, and that Barry Keoghan's character and his acting role in the film was really decent and very well done. It wasn't a huge role, but at the same time it was very memorable, people were saying, and that it really stuck to them, and that it really showed that this kid this young actor has some good acting chops on him, and that he was going to become a big success. And also, the movie itself was considered a decent film and a very big indie film as well at the Keoghan Films as well. But definitely, from the trailer I watched, it looks really interesting. Definitely something that I'll eventually check out in the future. Most definitely, just to see how Barry was in it, how Brendan Gleeson was in it, and just if what the critics said were as true as they said about the film being a very interesting and different film. But like I said, in Killing the Sacred Deer, I didn't care too much for his character. I thought he was very, bland and just not very well done. I thought that, his characterization of this bad guy was just too simple. It wasn't very sadistic, and it wasn't, super, thought out. I felt that it was just kind of like he was there and going, okay, so I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and if you don't do this, this is gonna happen. I did that, yeah. And I was just kind of waiting for something like another side to pop up or something, or something different, like he had split personalities or something, or he thought differently and acted differently than what he was doing when he was talking to Colin Farrell and other people. But yeah, that never came and that never showed. So I was like interested, you know, it interested me, but at the same time, I thought it was a very bland role, and I thought he could have been more sinister and a lot more sophisticated in his approach of being a bad guy. So I think he definitely has still, acting, skills that he needs to learn over the years to be better bad guy. But at the same time, he still didn't do that bad of a job and kept the movie moving and interesting enough to, entertain people and to give people an idea of what that character was like. I definitely thought he wasn't super bad, but at the same time, I didn't think he was the best either. So if you're not familiar with what the plot of The Killing of a Sacred Deer is, basically what the premise of the film is, we have Colin Farrell, who is this heart transplant doctor that ends up befriending this kid and kind of helps him out because his father's dead. And after he befriends him, the kid slowly starts becoming a little crazier and crazier and like doing evil things to his family, and basically is like starts claiming that he's doing these things to his family, and he has to figure out what to do basically to stop this kid and to save his family from the fate that they're supposed to go in, and that he doesn't actually believe in that there's something spiritual or magical going on because this is reality. That's not real life, and that's not how it's supposed to happen. And basically, he's trying to figure out through the movie how he can stop this and how he can save his family, basically. It was definitely an interesting story. Definitely, most definitely. Very, unique, very different, something we really haven't seen before. A lot along the lines like that film Funny Games, where these two sadistic, brothers basically hound this one family and like make them do crazy stuff and basically kill them, basically. It's along the lines of like that, I feel, that type of story. And I thought it was very unique and different and something I hadn't seen before. Definitely a decent film to check out. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Worth the watch. Really interesting. I don't know if it's something I would own. Maybe if I find it for super cheap or something. But definitely I give this one 5 Golden Movie Boxes up. Definitely worthy of that. Definitely an interesting film that will keep you entertained. Definitely is an interesting film. And definitely worthy of watching. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's worth the watch because it was a very interesting film. So that's it for this movie review, guys. Always thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. And also, thank you for subscribing. And if this is your first time here, or if you've been here before and haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss one of these awesome videos I put up, or any of the awesome videos I put up. And as always, keep your eyes out for any older, newer videos you might not have seen mine yet. And as always, check out that awesome link down about the awesome Horror Pack. Now, Horror Pack is an awesome subscription service that comes right to your door every month of awesome horror films. You can either get the format of DVD or Blu-ray, and each awesome box comes with a limited edition you can't get anywhere else. So especially if you're a huge movie lover and you're a huge horror lover, what better way to get awesome new stuff to watch than through an awesome subscription service like this? So if you're interested in signing up, or if you are going to sign up, let me know down in the comments so I can hook you up with a discount on your first month. And always, please check out my awesome Stardust profile at Cyberneticshark as well. If you don't have it downloaded on your phone, download the app through the either Apple Store or the Google Play Store. Fill out the information and start up an awesome thing, and check out awesome 10 to 30 second little reviews about awesome movies as well. So if you're interested in that, look that up too as well, and follow me after you get there, also at Cyberneticshark. And as always, catch you in the next one.